Hello and welcome to another episode of Come Back Stronger, where we bring you stories from around the world from people who have overcome adversity and have come back stronger. And today I'm super excited to be visited by my law partner Carrie Roan, who is hosting today instead of Dana Brooks. But not only that, it's the Carrie Roan Show today because she is also interviewing Karen Simmons, and we're going to introduce you to Karen Simmons, who's a phenomenal woman who has overcome a major challenge. Carrie, tell us a little bit about Karen.
So Karen has 7 children, which is a challenge in and of itself.
Yes.
But 2 of her children are neurodiverse. Her 5th and 7th child were born with neurodiversities, one of whom was diagnosed as autistic. But what Karen did is she went on a crusade. Instead of wallowing in it or looking at it as a negative thing, she went on this crusade to educate people about autism and neurodiversity and to help all kinds of families who have children who are neurodiverse, which is wonderful.
This is a classic comeback story. And one of the best things about a great comeback story is when somebody has experienced challenges, has experienced pain, and has learned to overcome that pain, and then has turned that pain into a purpose where they're helping other people overcome those challenges.
That's right.
And that's exactly what Karen Simmons did. That's the whole purpose of this show, is to encourage people that no matter what you're going through, no matter what challenges you face in your life, you can turn that into an opportunity to help other people by overcoming those challenges. It's the challenges that we face and we overcome that cause us to grow.
Yeah, they actually make us better. All those challenges make us better as people.
They make us better as people, and they often define, if we're smart and we're looking closely at it, they define our purpose in life.
Right.
And so that's what it's all about. So we are about to go to a commercial, but when we come back, we are going to introduce you to Karen Simmons. Can't wait to see you then. And you know what the insurance company offered him? $5,000.
Really?
He's completely blind, and they offer him $5,000. Ask him to sign a release.
To a lot of people, especially when they're hurting and when they're down and when they're vulnerable, $5,000 is a life-changing amount of money. And they're not looking at the value of what has been lost. They're not looking at what it would take to make that person whole, which is our job. That's our job. Their job isn't. Their job is to save the insurance company money.
Right.
And they look at this person and they go, I bet $5,000 would get your full attention. Right. And they come in and they dangle it with a settlement release, and then once you sign it, you're done. You can't come back to us and ask us to wave a magic wand and make that go away. That can't go away.
My client didn't accept the $5,000. We took him all the way to trial. We got a $5 million verdict. Welcome back to Come Back Stronger, where we're introducing you to Miss Karen Simmons, who's the author of the book Surrounded by Miracles. Also, she's the founder of Autism Today. Karen is a phenomenal woman, and I'm excited for you to meet her.
Karen Simmons, thank you so much for joining us on the Come Back Stronger show today. I can't wait to hear about your story. Just to kind of briefly tell our audience who you are, you're a mother of 7 children, and when you had your 7th, you sustained a very, very bad hemorrhage, probably almost cost you your life, your baby's life, and your baby wound up being neurodiverse or autistic, as a lot of people understand it to be. And then you wound up taking that tragic event in your life and your child's life and turning it into a foundation and an educational platform for people with autism. I believe it's called Autism Today, right? The foundation?
Right. What happened? I don't know where you want me to start.
Let's start from the beginning. So you're having your 7th child, right? What happened?
Well, I hemorrhaged, and I was given my last rites. I was given a 1% chance to live. I was given 140 units of blood.
Wow.
And 5 surgeries within 2 days. I was taken into the intensive care unit.
What caused you to hemorrhage, Karen? What does that mean for our audience watching?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of mothers go through this situation where everything just falls apart. Everything goes out of control, and they don't know what happens, but like your body just gives out.
Yeah.
And they were squeezing blood out of me, into me, and throwing the bags on the floor.
Wow.
It was just happening so fast. They just didn't know what was going on. I mean, I was unconscious at that time.
Okay.
And like the doctor was saying that I was recalling experiences. They were taking, they were taking my body parts out. And I recalled it later on as the doctor was, talking to me later on. He says, I don't know how you knew what was going on, because you were unconscious, you know, your eyes were closed. But, you know, like when I was, my body, you know, like I gained 170 pounds of fluid during that time, as they told me later on, because I was unconscious. But I wrote a book afterwards about this experience. And I wrote the book from my perspective, but I had all my family write their perspective because they were the ones who were really going through the trauma. My husband at the time was going through it. He wrote his story. My mother, my father came in from Miami. My sister-in-law, my sister, my kids were writing stories. They were making paper airplanes and drawing pictures, and they all put this into the book.
So what's the name of your book, and where can people find it?
Surrounded by Miracles.
So was this like a near-death experience for you?
Yes, it was. It was. And that was the incident that happened at that time. I mean, of course, there was a backstory that led up to this. This was my seventh child. My fifth child was the one who was diagnosed with autism.
I see.
So after this experience, that's when everything started unfolding as far as the autism experience started happening. So after I recovered from this, which was 2.5 months in intensive care.
Wow.
And then after that, I spent 3 months in the hospital, and I was sent home with a tube out of my back because they had cut my ureter, and they thought that they were going to have to replace my kidney. And there's a lot of physical things that had happened at that time. So my seventh child was also diagnosed as being neurodiverse, but it was my fifth child that was diagnosed with autism. That was the problem. So I had 2 neurodiverse children, one with autism and one with neurodiversity. So after I had gone through this experience, I wrote this book called Little Rain Man, because at that time, Dustin Hoffman had just done his movie Rain Man. And that was a story to help educate people about autism, because people didn't know at that time what autism was. There was 43 books by my publisher at that time about autism, and people just didn't know how to get them into how to recognize autism and understand the signs and the symptoms of what it was. So I wanted to help. I wanted my son to understand what he had, and I wanted other people to understand what it was so they could recognize it and get the early intervention that they need.
Yeah, you know, Rain Man, I remember watching that when I was much younger, a kid, and that was the first time I had ever been exposed to anybody with autism and kind of gained an awareness or an understanding of it. What's the difference? What's the difference between autism and neurodiversity? Because I thought neurodiversity was like all-encompassing and included autism. Is there a difference?
Well, neurodiversity, it's like an umbrella term, right?
Yeah.
So there's lots of different disabilities that fall under. It's like an invisible disability. So there's ADHD, there's Tourette's syndrome, and there's all these different types of disabilities that fall under neurodiversity. Autism is one of them.
I see.
And there's a lot of people that are finding out that they have a different type of condition that's invisible, but it's
diverse
type of neurodiversity.
Yeah. Just
dyslexia or something like that, might be a type of neurodiversity. But autism is one specific type.
Something that makes people unique. We're finding out that everybody's unique in their own way. And so your fifth child has autism, and your seventh child that survived the birth hemorrhage that you had is neurodiverse. What's the difference between the two kids?
Well, they both have challenges around behavior, communication, social skills, and sensory issues, but it shows up differently in my seventh child. He was diagnosed at first with mild ataxic cerebral palsy, which is not the same thing as like a physical type of disability. It's more to do with the inside of his brain. It just shows up differently for him. It's hard to describe, right?
Yeah.
You meet people that just don't appear the same as other people. It's just hard to put your finger on it.
Right.
At 3 years old, the doctor changed his diagnosis, which took away all of his funding. So he wasn't able to get as much funding and support through the school system as my other son.
Interesting.
That happens a lot.
If there are parents who are watching this with young children, what are the things that they should look for, which might lead them to inquire with the doctor if their child is neurodiverse or autistic?
Well, when my son with autism was younger, he would spin around in circles. He'd flap his hands in the air, which it could look very normal on a younger child. But, when the child's 20 years old, you don't want to really see people, it looks different. So repeating words over and over again, jumping up and down, strange behavior. There's just lots of different behaviors that they need to look for. Probably too many to list just, on this show, but they can go to our website, autismtoday.com, and there's going to be a whole list of different things that they can look for. That's
a great resource for people to use, because there's also things like not making eye contact or not wanting physical touch or not being nonverbal. Well, when we get back, I want to talk more about your foundation and your book and everything you're doing for the autistic community and the neurodiverse community.
Let me just put things in perspective here. This is a woman who has raised 7 children. She's raising 7 children, 2 of whom are neurodiverse. So you can imagine how busy she is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet, despite having those challenges, she writes 2 books and starts a foundation.
Yeah.
That is only the kind of thing that comes from a deep well of power within. That's something it's from a calling, from a purpose. And that's why she is so incredible. What an amazing woman.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's created a nationwide network of caregivers and parents and children, so everybody can come together and understand and share and learn and progress together.
Yeah, this is what I want people to know. I want everybody to know that the pain that you've suffered in life, the obstacles that you faced and you've had to overcome, that's where your purpose comes from. And so I'm always encouraging people to have a mission in life, a mission in life. How do you know your mission in life? You look at the painful experiences you've had to overcome, you take the talent that you have and you mix those 2 together, and then you think about, how can I use that to make this world a better place?
That's right.
That's exactly what Karen Simmons has done. That's why we love her.
Absolutely. And she's teaching time management to me.
Yeah.
I look at her and I'm like, well, I've got 2 kids and a full-time job. How does she do it with 7 children and 2 books and a foundation and like, there's always room for more. There's always room to do better and grow as a person.
Yeah, the way that she does it is because this is a calling for her that keeps her up at night. She didn't do it because she wanted to do it. She did it because she had to do it. Yeah. She felt it deep inside.
She couldn't stop.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. So we're going to go to a commercial, but when we come back, you're going to hear the second segment of Karen Simmons' interview, where she talks about how she came back stronger.
It's also important to have lawyers who understand the juries.
100%.
So where you grow up in a place and you understand what makes people from that place proud. And in the Panhandle, what is that? Well, we have the world's widest sand beaches, the beautiful nature of the place, but also the strong connection to the armed forces.
Yes. It's important to hire a lawyer who understands the culture of where you're going to be and has an idea of the kind of people who will be on the jury should you have to try the case. And you better believe the insurance companies who will be deciding the value of the case, they look into that.
I once had a case where the attorney was from Chicago and he came down to this area in the Panhandle and he kept talking about Wakulla, but he didn't know how to say Wakulla. And it came out all different sorts of ways, and I thought, oh man, if you get in front of a jury down here.
Welcome back to Come Back Stronger, where we are introducing you to Karen Simmons, who's the author of Surrounded by Miracles, the founder of Autism Today, and has overcome some serious challenges of raising 7 children and having 2 of her children being neurodiverse, one of them having autism. And she is an amazing woman. Here is the second part of the interview where she talks about how she came back stronger.
All right, Ms. Simmons, welcome back. Let's talk about your foundation, Autism Today. You said that you decided after you went through this very traumatic, near-death experience, almost bleeding to death, essentially, that you decided to start with autism awareness. So how did that begin and where is it now?
Well, where it is right now, I was a co-author of a Chicken Soup for the Soul Children with Special Needs book because I thought all the stories needed to be shared in the world of all these mothers that are going through traumatic experiences. I created a whole bunch of conferences with top leaders and experts in the field of autism, for behavioral interventions, biomedical interventions, strategies and techniques that help parents, because it's so important that they find the right techniques and strategies. Mm-hmm. And I did conferences in Orlando, mm-hmm. in Cleveland, Ohio, New York, all across North America, and in Canada. Anyway, I just went on a binge doing all these conferences because I really wanted to help parents everywhere. I also created a book called The Official Autism 101 Manual and another one called Autism Tomorrow. I just really wanted everybody to be helped as much as they possibly could. Mm-hmm. So what happened then, I ran out of steam a little bit.
That's a lot of work. And you were the mother of 7 children too. So let's not forget that you had your hands full at home.
One part of that I want to just say, because I think that a lot of parents, this is a little bit of a side note, but I do want to say that 6 of the children I had within a period of 9 years.
Wow.
And one child I had when I was 19, and I gave him up for adoption, and I found him later on in life. And I just want parents or people to know that it's really important, because that was a part of myself that it was really hard for me to work through that. And it's important to embrace that in myself. And just, anyway.
It's part of the journey. It's part of the journey.
Part of the journey that I just really want to embrace. So anyway, the Official Autism 101 Manual has 53 top experts in that book. So we're taking that content, and I met somebody a year ago who is a Hollywood film and movie industry leader. His name is Vincent De La Luna. And he and I have partnered, and that's why we are taking all the content that I have created over the years, and we are launching a channel and an arts network.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, really, really excited. And a learning and education platform, so we can get this information out to parents for free.
That's great.
So that way, parents can learn from other parents, and they can learn from other people on the spectrum, so that people that are having successes can be role models to other people. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times what's happening is people are signing up for strategies that are working, and some that aren't working, and they need to learn what's not working and what's working for them, because maybe something in Tallahassee is working and it could work for somebody in Canada.
Right. It seems like a great network for people to connect, will my child be able to work or be in a relationship or live independently? They can come to you through your books or through this new network and kind of bounce those ideas off of other people and be educated on them. Mm-hmm. What's the name of your network?
Autism Today.
Okay.
So we're putting on that website, and we're launching that November 1st.
Oh, that's wonderful. And where can people find the books that you've been talking about?
It'll be all on autismtoday.com. That way everybody will know exactly where it is.
What an interesting life adventure that you've had. What did you do before you became a writer and an advocate for autism?
I'm a gemologist by trade.
Really? That's fascinating. What a big change in your career.
I know. Well, these kids are my gems, right?
Yeah.
So they're my diamonds, my rubies, my sapphires. I used to go to conferences and I'd pass star sapphires out to the audience. And I would pass little flashlights out so people could shine the light on the star. And then when they shine the light on the star, then they can, the star would come out. So I would empower people to shine the light on the star. And that way, even though they have the little tiny inclusions inside, that's what makes them magnificent.
And that's the same thing with all the children that you're representing with autism and neurodiversity, right?
Yes.
But he just needs to shine the light on them, and all of their wonderful brilliance comes out. And we're all flawed. All of us are flawed in a different way.
There's beauty in the flaws.
So that's such a fascinating story that you were a gemologist, had a lot of children, and then went through this horrible experience and completely did a 180. I mean, that should be really, really encouraging to people when they're well into their adulthood and they think their life is on a certain track, that you can take a tragedy like the one you went through and you can use that tragedy to springboard into something amazing and helpful for your community and to better the world as a whole.
You can. I used to travel around the world because my mom worked for the airlines. So I'd go to everywhere and look for the gems. And I think you can find the gems everywhere in your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good reminder to all of us. So what are some of the questions that you get from parents that they're really struggling these days with kids who are autistic or neurodiverse? Is it social media? Is it school? Is it work related? What are some of the big challenges people are facing?
How can I get my kid to sleep at night? How can I get my kid to eat the right types of foods? Where can they live on their own? How can I get them to, there's worries that they have, like how can I keep them safe, of course, right? Like, because what they'll do is they'll escape, they'll just leave. They don't have any fear of, what they can do. Like they might go out of the house. They might, I used to have to put locks on the tops of the doors.
Is bullying still an issue with neurodiverse children?
Bullying is definitely an issue. Yes.
Hopefully your platform and the more educated people get on autism and neurodiversity, they will understand kids better and it will help, as adults and as parents, we need to be the mentor for our own children with respect to how they treat neurodiverse people. So hopefully as we all get more educated, we can understand that people are unique in their own ways and it's not something it's obviously nobody should ever make fun of anybody for anything and be cruel or mean ever. But I think as you educate people, it will be easier for people to understand.
We need to focus on the gifts, the strengths, and the talents that people have, and not on the negative things.
That's right.
On everybody, right?
Right. That's what I was just thinking.
Everybody has beauty, gifts, and wonderment inside. And sure, we all get down. We all have negative things. But if we get what we focus on. What we focus on expands. Mm-hmm. We focus on the negative, we get more negative. We focus on positive, we get more positive.
That's exactly right. And that's backed up by science and by data. That's not just you saying it.
That's right.
Well, Karen, thank you so much for being part of our Come Back Stronger show today. It was lovely to meet you. And I just feel like you've made my life better in this short period of time. So thank you very much.
I love the idea of finding the gems.
Yeah.
And about everywhere you go in the world, there are always gems that you can find. Carrie, what are the big gems that you took away from this?
Well, speaking of gems, though, that everybody's flawed. Every single gem, no matter how perfect, is flawed.
Yes.
And when you just shine the light on something, all the brilliance comes out in every single one of us.
Yes.
People who are neurodiverse, people who aren't neurodiverse. And there's so many life lessons built into that second segment, that just goes beyond her story, I think.
One of the things that I loved was how she talked about how she had given up her child for adoption and then that she ended up having to embrace that. And I love her because I love the way that she's able to admit that the mistakes that she felt that she made in her life has shaped who she has become. And that's what I like to think of my mistakes as the mistakes that I've made as making me the man that I am today. And when you come to that realization, you're able to forgive yourself. But not only that, you're able to forgive the other people who have done you wrong. And when you're able to do that, then you take your life to a whole different level. So I loved it that she said that.
That was a really neat part, I thought.
Yeah. So what was your other take? My big other takeaway, other than finding the gems, was ultimately when she talked about how she did all these things and including the foundation, the books, all the little books that kind of went along with the books, and she did all those things all because she had a drive to help other people overcome what she had been through. That is the key to a comeback story, because if you're going through something, you can bet that somebody else is going through it too.
Well, and she's still building. Her autismtoday.com just started on November 1st with her channel. With the producer from Hollywood. So she's still building and growing.
Okay, so we're going to go to another commercial, but when we come back, we have a lot more to talk about, so we'll see you then.
You know what else I think makes women a little bit better at this job as trial lawyers is our ability to communicate. You know, there's an old joke that women say 10,000 words to every 10 words that a man says. But the success in this job is based on building relationships and communicating. We're trying to present our evidence, we're trying to communicate to our clients, communicate to insurance companies, all just to get a deal done, to get our clients money for pain and suffering and lost wages and medical bills. And I think when you're a better communicator and when you're used to communicating like that, you just do a better job.
One of the unique advantages I think we have as women lawyers is, of course, other women are going to feel comfortable sharing things with us, but I also find that men are often more comfortable talking to a woman about really delicate things, the things that make them feel like they're not in control and they're not doing right by their families, or they're just not who they think they should be in the world. I use every asset I've got, and empathy's a big one.
Welcome back to Come Back Stronger, where we just interviewed Ms. Karen Simmons, who was the author of Surrounded by Miracles, and she is an amazing woman, the founder of Autism Today. And one of the things that she talked about is finding the gems through in anything that you do. And in this case, what I loved that she said was that when you shine your light on the gems that are imperfect, then they will bring out that luminescence. That's right, it's a star.
Right.
And I love that because what she's doing is she is literally, by talking about autism and talking about bringing it up and having that conversation, she's shining a light on it, and she's making it easier for other people and parents that are raising autistic children.
Right, it's normalized, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So an interesting statistic is that in 1996, 1 in 10,000 children were diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
And now it's 1 in 44 children. And what I love about her website, which I think the channel just launched the other day, November 1st, what I love about her website is she gathers a lot of data and a lot of information on the causes of autism, the potential causes, right? Which they're still researching scientifically. So, you know, there's food allergens, there's food exposure, there's chemical exposure. You know, sometimes people are born that way. So what I love about it is that there's a whole investigation that's ongoing into the causes of autism and what people might be able to do to prevent it or maybe treat it early on
to handle it better, and especially a lot of tips for parents, like the autistic, like as you had brought up, the autistic children are often bullied. They go through a lot of challenges socially, and there are various levels of autism, various ranges on the spectrum of autism. So, but she's definitely brought to light a lot of the issues, and she has changed her pain into a purpose. She's done everything that it takes to create a great comeback story. So we thank you guys for joining us. And we look forward to the next time where we bring you great comeback stories of people who have come back stronger.
No person wants to go through this. No amount of money is going to make someone want to go through a car accident and go through all this pain and suffering and treatment. A client that's hurt has had MRIs that show that they're hurt, and the insurance company goes, no, not our problem. And so you have to fight them for it when the client wouldn't want to go through any of this anyway.
No. The insurance companies know that. They know this person's already hurting. This person knows they're up against people that they're not equipped to fight. And they know that if they just pound on them and just maintain that position, they'll eventually wear them down. Not if you got the right lawyer.
I can't tell you how many times I have demanded that an insurance company pay my client the maximum amount, the policy limit, and they make a couple $1,000 offer. I turn around, I sue them the next day, then they're begging me to accept the policy limit. Just like that.
That's because they know that they're conducting business